Welcome to another edition of the Huddle and Flow podcast. I am Steve White with my dudes, Thomas Warren, our producer on the ones and twos, Jim Trotter, JT. What's up? We're back for a little midweek special. Our second scoop of an LSU player coming up. You got Justin Jefferson after having Andrew Whitworth on. This is gonna be a good one. We got the Rook.
No, look, I've been impressed with this. I almost said kid. He's a young man. I've been impressed with this young man since, I saw him at LSU last year and the numbers he was putting up. So to have him on, I've been looking forward to having him on just to talk about his season, his development, all those sorts of things. So definitely one that I'm glad we got around to.
Jim, isn't it amazing? I mean, for years we heard wide receiver might be the toughest position other than quarterback for a rookie to transition to, right? Now, so then we see the rookie quarterbacks making the transition. But wide receivers, they don't understand coverages. They don't know how to get off a press because there's so much press, bail, and zone in college. They got to catch balls in traffic now because, it's tight windows in the NFL. And someone like Justin comes along and completely blows out the rookie record. The fifth wide receiver taken in last year's draft, by the way, comes in and completely shows out.
Yeah, I mean, to break a record that has stood for 16 seasons in terms of yards receiving by a rookie, that's pretty impressive. To break a record, and that one was set by Anquan Boldin, but then also to break the franchise record, which was set by one of the greatest ever, and that's Randy Moss. So It tells you something about this kid. And I think what the Vikings believe or hope they have in him is that they have their version of Larry Fitzgerald, is a guy who's just a tremendous in terms of production, and also somebody who is solid off the field. The thing I've heard about Justin, you go through an entire season with a rookie. He didn't miss one interview appointment. He didn't miss one treatment appointment, anything like that. He was really like a fifth-year vet right off the bat, and that speaks to his character and his development. So guys like that, you love to see succeed, and that's why, again, I was happy we were getting him on the show. Because he does everything the right way, in terms of how he plays and how he conducts himself, in his business.
Yeah, look, and to come in with no offseason, to deal with a team that was up and down this year, doesn't make the playoffs, injuries, the defense is decimated by injuries, and to be that professional and to lead for a team that trades away Stephon Diggs, and he comes in to fill that role, and people are like, oh, the Vikings were crazy to give up on Diggs, and he steps in and he replaces that production. Even with Thielen, off and on with injuries this year, salute to him. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be him or if it's going to be the other Justin Herbert, who gets the offensive rookie of the year. But both of them came in and just really were fantastic this season.
Yeah, Steve, we know who's going to get it. Unfortunately,
we're the quarterback.
Yeah, it's a quarterback-driven league. And that's why I say all of these offensive awards, they should have a separate award for the quarterback so that it can be fair to these other players who have, whether we're talking veterans or we're talking rookies who have outstanding seasons, because they just get lost in the shuffle because the default is check the box for the quarterback. And I think that's unfortunate because what Justin Jefferson did this year, and I'm taking nothing away from Justin Herbert, what Justin Jefferson did this year was truly impressive when you watch week in and week out what he was able to do. And the other thing that was so fascinating to me, Steve, he's confirmation of just how inexact a science scouting is. Because when you go back and you read some of the reports on him coming into the draft, you're like, who are they talking about? After you see him play, because the scouting report doesn't match up with the production and what we saw on the field.
Yeah, that's an interesting take because he played in the pro offense at LSU, had Joey Burrow throwing the ball to him. It's just interesting to see how receivers are judged. And I think part of it is that old thinking, like it takes a while for them to transition. And look, there's some of the other rookie receivers. Ruggs and Judy and those guys. It took them a while to transition. So that goes to show you again how Justin Jefferson is really special. And and you talk about how this is as a quarterback award. Look at some of these offensive linemen who came in and played really well this year. Tristan Wirfs is still in the playoffs for the Buccaneers. A lot of great rookies, Chase Young on defense, Jeremy Chin on defense. So, look, for even without having an offseason, some of these rookies really came in and showed up. But, yeah, we see that our special guest has arrived. So let's go ahead and bring in Justin Jefferson. All right, Jim, now we're joined by our special guest. We're going to find out soon if he's going to be the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year, but that's Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings.
He
Justin,
should be. No, let's not say if he will be. He should be.
Okay. So now that you bring in Justin, should you? Jim has already proclaimed you should be.
Yeah, I think I should be. Just, off of difficulty of a year, not being able to have any preseason and not being able to start the first 2 games. And then just coming off and still getting the rookie record and getting 1,400 yards. So it's definitely not easy to do as a rookie receiver going against, some top corners in the league.
Let me say this, Steve. Let me put it in perspective. So we know it's a quarterback. Every award, offensive award, is a quarterback award. So I'm setting them aside. But look at his accomplishments as a rookie. As he said, he broke the NFL rookie record for yards receiving, and that mark had stood for 16 seasons. Anquan Boldin had it. It's 4th in the NFL in receiving yards, tied for 3rd with Travis Kelce and Calvin Ridley for most receptions of 20 yards or longer with 23. Became just the 2nd wide receiver in the last 30 years to earn All-Pro honors as a rookie at that position. So when you put all that together, as he said, coming in a COVID year where you have no offseason, first time you meet your team is when you arrive at training camp. You don't start the first 2 games. Put all that together and you go for 1,400 yards on 88 receptions. I think that speaks for itself. So in my opinion, he's Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yes, sir.
And let's not forget, it's supposed to be a run-based offense too, and he put up those types of numbers. Absolutely. Hey, but real quick, before we get back to that, I got to ask you this since it's so fresh on the dome. Okay, we remember what you did in the Peach Bowl last year, right? 14 catches, 227, 4 touchdowns, and you went out and did your thing in the national championship game. Well, then Devonta Smith showed up in the national championship game early this week and put up 12 catches for 215 and 3 touchdowns basically in the first half. What did you think about that performance?
Man, he's a dog, man. Just the work that he put in the offseason and just him just being the same circumstances, being a COVID year, them not knowing if they're able to play or not. Some guys can't play because of COVID. So definitely a difficult year for college too. And for him to go out and get all of these yards and break the record for touchdowns, that's crazy. He's been killing it all year, and he definitely deserves that Heisman Trophy win.
Justin, what were your expectations coming into this year?
I wanted to be the best receiver that I can be. I didn't want to really compare myself to the other rookie receivers. I wanted to be the best receiver in the league. So me just setting goals out for myself, me just trying to buy into the process, me listening to Adam, just getting all the information that I can. Because we didn't have any preseason, so I didn't really have no taste of the NFL yet until week 1. So it definitely was a struggle, but I really had to work my butt off and do extra work to get here.
Did you set goals?
Yes. My goals were, me and my brother were talking about it before the season. I think it was like 60 receptions. We based for 1,000 yards, and I think it was 6 or 7 touchdowns, one of the 2. So I definitely reached my goals. I surpassed my goals. So
Yes,
definitely a check mark off year 1.
It's funny when I think in doing some research when you were back last year, I think it was one of the bowl or it was against Georgia where you had a big game, and I think there was a quote from you where you said that's when you understood or accepted that you could be a difference maker at that level. Was there a moment during your rookie season where you said, I mean, you always knew you belonged, but where you said, I can be a difference maker at this level?
Yeah. After my first start, after week 3, having 175 yards, just being a big performer of the game, and then, just dancing into the end zone, just that excitement. I just knew I was capable of being a problem in the league, especially going against Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler is one of the top corners in the league. So, having a performance like that on him definitely opens my eyes a little bit and giving me a little bit more confidence.
Let me ask you this too, because I want to add another layer, because you talked about all the things you came into the season with, not starting to the third game, X, Y, and Z. But early on too, people were like, the Vikings traded Stephon Diggs. And so you had to come in with that conversation around you, and you ended up doing your thing like that. What was it like dealing with something it was completely out of your control and everything like that? But I mean, it was there. It was part of the conversation and the narrative about your rookie season.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely heard all the comments, all the rumors or whatever it is. Me just trying to live up to Stephon Diggs and stuff. But I didn't really want to focus on that. I wanted to play my own game. I knew I was capable of being a playmaker in the league. I knew I was going to be able to make some plays. So me given the opportunity, I knew I was going to make the most of it. So I just was blocking out that noise and just play my own game.
Be honest here, Justin. There were 4 receivers drafted ahead of you, and we look at everything that you accomplished in college. What were you truly feeling as you looked at those players come off the board, and you're there knowing what you're capable of doing?
I mean, I took it in as just me. I just kept a chip on my shoulder, if you want to say that. I just felt like I was one of the top receivers, and especially off of the performance that I did with a national championship, and having over 1,500 yards and having 18 touchdowns. So being the 5th receiver picked up, I felt like that was disrespectful on their part. So I just wanted to prove everybody wrong. All of the doubts that me not being able to play outside, me not being a fast receiver, me not being able to go deep. So, this past season, I worked on all of those things. I just tried to clean up my game a little bit more and be that versatile receiver.
Let me read you, because I went back and looked at some of the scouting reports that were out there. And among the weaknesses, what they said, spread scheme through field wide open for him. Needs more attention to detail with his routes. Too complacent to beat coverage with athletic ability. Unable to run away and separate from tight man. Size and strength across from him impedes production. Will take time adjusting to press looks as a pro. So when I'm reading all this, and then I'm watching you play this year, I'm like, what were they watching? Who were they watching? Because that's not who I'm seeing.
I don't know.
When you saw some of that during the draft, were you asking that same question? Like, who were they watching?
For sure. I mean, the things that I read, I was like, where did they even get this from? I never really got caught from behind, so I don't know why they thought I was a slow receiver. Like, I don't know why they felt like I wasn't able to get open. I was open plenty of times. I had 111 receptions, so I don't really understand all of those comments, but I just used it as fuel to my game, and I just wanted to prove everyone wrong.
What was interesting too, when you got to Minnesota, the first 2 weeks they were playing you primarily in the slot, and then they moved you outside. Did you feel like maybe they had kind of pigeonholed you, so to speak, before they allowed you to play outside?
Yeah, but it also comes on effect just me learning the playbook. I didn't really know the playbook 100% the first 2 weeks, so they really wasn't, it was kind of nervous to put me out there at first. So they were just trying to let me get a feel for it the first 2 weeks, to see how things are, and then that third week, Coach Kubiak gave me the opportunity to start outside, and they just really wanted to see what I would do with that opportunity.
It's funny because when Jim was reading that, it said doesn't run great routes, and then we're hearing by like week 8, this dude's one of the best route runners in the NFL. And the fact that he's a rookie, and he's tagging stuff and doing this and doing that. Was there a difference? Did you come up here and be like, okay, look, maybe the way these guys are scheming on me, I'm being asked to do things differently, and that's why they're noticing this?
I mean, yeah, kind of. Outside is totally different from inside. Inside, you kind of go against, linebackers, those safeties coming down. You don't really get those, one-on-one matchups like that. So being outside, you kind of be put on that island. So it's just you and the cornerback. So that gives me the ability to run the whole route tree on this one person. So it's kind of a little easier for me if you kind of said, because I'm just going against this one person instead of being inside. I got to worry about the linebackers, the safety, the nickel. So it's a little bit harder job inside than outside.
Yeah.
Justin, how much did that 1 year under Joe Brady at LSU prepare you for your rookie season?
It prepared me so much. Just running a pro style offense like the Saints. It gave me the ability to really learn a pro style offense. And me coming into the combine, coach is fascinated the way I know the playbook like it's nothing, because we ran pretty much the same plays, just called them different things. So the terminologies were different, but the concept was the same. So it was kind of easier with learning new plays now.
When you see him getting head coaching opportunities after just 1 year in the NFL, you having played for him, are you caught off guard? Or are you like, hey, man, somebody might get something special right here if they hire this guy?
100%. Just the way he connects with his players, the ability of him just calling the plays. He calls the right plays at the right time. And that's what made it work the whole last season. So him just putting people in the right positions, excuse me, people in the right positions to succeed and make plays. So that was the biggest part on him just calling the plays and setting us up for the right things.
What's interesting, Justin, is that typically young receivers struggle when they come in this league. It takes them a minute to get their feet under them, their legs under them. And you didn't have that problem. Was it as much of just playing in that system at LSU for a year, or was there something more to it in terms of why you were so successful this year?
That has a part on it. Just learning the playbook and learning the concepts that the NFL runs. But it's just, over time, I just watched plenty of football. I was really like a learner of football. Me just watching Odell and them at LSU at a young age. Me watching Odell and Jarvis and all of these different receivers that came to LSU. I just learned it. I just really just focused in and studied the game. And now just me just putting everything together, the things that I learned at LSU with the offense, me learning from Odell and all of the other guys that's been there and played the game that's on the top receivers in the league. So I really just been studying the game.
How much do you guys communicate, all of you LSU guys, the receivers?
We communicate a lot. We definitely are well connected with each other. We have a special bond. It's just a brotherhood. So once you're a Tiger, you're family. So all of us just showing each other love and just really just trying to root for one another.
Is there that competition now when you look at Alabama? Because Alabama's going to say they developed the receivers, not LSU. So is there that competition, friendly competition there?
Here we go.
There's definitely a competition. It's a tough competition at that. Just with the guys that are from Alabama and the guys that are at LSU. But the guys that we have, man, we can't be stopped, man. So I'm gonna always have to go to LSU.
All right, because when I was with Julio one time, he talks up his boys down there. He's considered like the sage, the one that they all look up to. So he feels he got him right. Now they got
For
another
sure.
one coming in soon with Devonta. So they're gonna be coming for y'all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm ready to see what he does when he doing the league. I'm excited to see, how he pan out and what team he go to. Hopefully, he go to a good system that use him right.
I wanted to ask.
I mean, real quick, just
Go ahead, Jimmy. Yeah, follow that,
you
Jim.
you watch him in college. You played against him in terms of being on the same field. I mean, how good is he? Because right now, people want to say, "Well, he's so thin. How's that going to translate to the next level?" That sort of thing. But you mentioned earlier he's a dog. I mean, how dominant do you think he can be at this next level?
I mean, I worked out with him a few times in the off season during quarantine and everything, but I mean, I mean, I was small too. I mean, a lot of receivers are small. Not a lot of receivers are bulky and big like DK Metcalf. So, I mean, him just being able to have that elusiveness and that wiggle to him, that's all he really needs. I'm not the biggest receiver either. So as long as he using his speed, his ability to get open, he'll be perfectly fine in this league.
Speaking of that, if you could speak to traits to be successful at this level, what would they be as a receiver?
Be patient, be yourself, and really think about your technique while you're playing. The NFL, there's a lot of smart cornerbacks. There's a lot of guys that study the game, watch a lot of your film, so they know all of your moves. So all you got to do is just be patient with your technique. Just learn how to set those moves up, make them look the same, and just run smooth routes, get in and out of those breaks.
So you talked about, the brotherhood of the LSU wide receivers and you coming up watching Odell and Jarvis and guys like that. But where you are now, is it more important for you to study other wide receivers or to study corners and DBs?
A little mixture of both. I study cornerbacks just to see, what their tendencies are, what they like to do, how they like to press, if they like to soft press, put hands on, be physical. Is he more a speedy guy? So you kind of watch for those things in the cornerback. But as a receiver, you watch the releases, the footwork. You watch out how they set defenders up on different routes. So watching Keenan Allen, watching Odell, watching Devontae Adams, those different guys have tremendous footwork and tremendous technique on their route. So watching those guys definitely helped me become a better route runner and using those techniques that they use into my game.
One of the things I respect about you, Justin, is this year is just the professionalism, being a young guy coming in, the way you've handled everything. And recently, with what happened in Washington at the Capitol last week, you expressed how you felt about that. And you had folks come at you. And I wonder, from your perspective, how much thought do you have to give in terms of how do I respond to that? Because you're under a microscope. Everyone is watching. But I thought it was beautiful what you said. So when that hit you, when those folks came at you, what was your thought process in terms of how to deal with it?
I mean, I just hate the fact that a lot of fans just feel like we're just meant to play football and just talk about football only. We're human beings. We live in the same world as everybody else. We have our own problems and own things that we deal with. But if we feel like we need to use our voices on our platform to really speak out to the world, why not do so? Us speaking to the world, we have a lot of fans that follow us. So using our voices to make it a worldwide thing and to show people that we care and we feel a certain way about this, the things that is going on. Why not speak up about it?
It's always fascinating that people who say stick to sports. It's like you guys are
Right.
one-dimensional. You have no minds other than football. It just blows me away that
Exactly.
that remains an issue out there. when you were in college, it's different. Now you're a grown man, you're on your own, you speak your mind. In college,
Yeah,
head coaches and programs try and control what you guys all say and do. You guys went to the
definitely.
White House under this president. What was that like for you, knowing how you feel about things that are going on right now?
It's crazy. It's crazy to say we actually was in there and actually been around them and everything. That whole experience was just fun, just actually being in the White House. But of course, just things that he did, we didn't agree with and everything. But we wasn't really going to let that affect our experience in the White House.
On that, the Vikings, you came to Minneapolis, and you guys were the nerve center of what happened in this country this summer with George Floyd. And I've spoken to Anthony Barr and Kyle Rudolph and Amir Abdullah and all those guys who are real front and center, saying, "Hey, we've got to lead because this is really what kind of kicked things off. In terms of reaction to those tragedies." What was it like coming into that as a rookie? Again, you weren't there in the offseason, because of COVID, but you're coming to that environment. What was that like, adjusting to it as well as having to figure out football?
It was different. Me, I didn't really grow up around, that type of stuff. So, I didn't really have any problems with cops or anything. But that was just my own experience. I can imagine, just being terrified and just being scared as soon as, a police drive by. So, I just really just try to learn all the things that I can about what's going on. Just trying to educate myself and just talk to different teammates about it. Just like you said, Amir knows a lot of stuff about it, and even his dad was active on this type of stuff too. So just listening to him and grasping all the information that I can from him and listening to the emotion that he puts into it.
Justin, I know you're a young man and you're still developing in terms of finding out who you actually are too. I think we put so much pressure on young players to ask them to know who they are, and as if they're a finished product at a young age.
Right.
But how important is it to you to make
Right.
a difference in your community, and how is it that you want to make a difference?
Oh man, making a difference in my community is definitely big. Just the amount of people that look up to me back at home. So many people are so supportive of me and very proud of me for what I've have accomplished. And just to see all of the little kids and stuff doing the Griddy and just being so happy to do it and just be around me and stuff, it's an amazing feeling. And definitely wanting to give back to my community in different tremendous ways. So definitely looking forward to seeing what I can improve on in my community, and hopefully we get a lot of stuff done.
Where do you go? Where do you
Since
go
you
from
brought it
here?
up,
Oh, go ahead. I'll let Steve go on.
hold up, Jim. Since you brought it up, the Griddy, because you're the guy who is being said. You set it off, right? You doing that when you got into
Yeah,
the end zone, you set it off. You had a bunch of players around the NFL. We know it's a New Orleans thing. So what
yeah.
about that? What about showing off the 504 right there?
Oh, that's a must. I gotta let people know where I come from. So, just showing that type of dance. Nobody has ever did it or seen it before. So, bringing that New Orleans culture to the rest of the NFL, to the rest of the world. It just puts on for Louisiana. It just just shows that culture in us.
I love it, man. The funny thing, for so long, the NFL was known as a not no fun league.
No fun league.
Yeah, and now to see you guys
Right.
be able to show your personality a little bit, I love it. I can't do it. I can't do the Griddy, but I love seeing it. So, hey, Justin, you had such a tremendous rookie season. I just wondered, man, you have set a high bar. It's now the floor, actually. How do you build on that? Do you start looking to next year already?
Um, I mean, well, first, it's just really just resting my body, just making sure my body is really ready to last 17 weeks again, or even more. So, it's not like college. College 2 weeks off and then we're back to grinding. So I can actually rest my body for once. I can really just relax and just live my life for a minute until I go back to the grind. But just working on the different things that I need to fix. Watching my film, watching all of the plays that I did bad or needed to fix something on. So when I come in the off season, I can really work on those different things, and coming into next year, I can fix those things and improve.
Do you need to work on?
There's always room for improvement. Just things like releases, just trying to get open, just trying to beat that one-on-one press. We face a couple different good corners this upcoming season. So definitely got to upgrade my game and trying to find some new moves to get open.
When some of the corners you face, we like to ask guys this. The guys you went against, like who was the really like tough individual matchup, or like one that you said, wow, okay, he did this to me, but I learned that next time I play him, whether it's Alexander, with Green Bay or whatever, like who are some of the guys you're like, okay, I know I got to deal with this guy for the next 5-10 years. He's tough. Who are some of the best head-to-heads you went against?
Jair definitely, but it was kind of hard to say him just because we played him the first game of the season. I didn't really play that game, and then the second time we played him, it was a very windy game, so we only had 14 attempts throwing the ball. So it was kind of hard. It's kind of hard to really judge how he is when I go up against him. But Lattimore from the Saints was probably the best defender I went up against. So definitely looking back at that tape, trying to figure out different ways to beat that press, getting open and create that separation.
Well, I want to ask you just real quick before we get you out of here, Justin. Who are some of the players? You mentioned watching Devonta Adams, but who are some of the players you saw on the field this year who just really impressed you, whether it was with their play, how they responded to a certain situation? Who are some of the guys like, man, okay, all right, that guy's a real one?
Well, I definitely gotta start off with my guys. Terrace Marshall, definitely, he's definitely going to impact the league. Just his ability to go up and get the ball, him just breaking the tackle and getting that yak after the catch. So definitely excited to see what he do coming into the league, and how big of a playmaker he's going to be.
Justin, I just want to say, I know we're going to let you get out of here, but man, tremendous rookie season, and you handled yourself so well on and off the field, man. I'm just looking for great things from you. I know we all are. So continued success, and more than that, continued health, because I know if you have health, you're gonna have success. So we appreciate you coming on the Huddle with Flow. Don't be a stranger, man.
Nah, thank you for having me. Nah, I'll never be a stranger though. But thank you for having me. It was good talking with you guys.
Steve, what an impressive young man, not just as a player, but as a person. And I got to tell you, when I saw the way that he clapped back at people who tried to come after him for expressing his feelings about what was happening at the Capitol last week, and he did it in a way where it would have been very easy for him to get salty with them and whatnot. But he did it in a way that, again, I keep using that word professional, just an impressive young man. And I think, the sky's the limit for him, as we said during the show. What he did now, 1,400 yards, 88 receptions, that's the floor. What he does now is he builds on that. So imagine where those numbers could go as he moves forward. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's probably going to be in a new offense. We're hearing that Gary Kubiak, his OC, is going to be retiring. So we'll see what they come up and we'll see what they develop. Because, Jim, he's going to get more coverages coming his way. So he's going to have to really start studying defense, some of the trends, some of the DCs that could be changing teams and things like that. And, on that note, besides him, real quick though, I mean, what an ambassador for New Orleans. You talked about a lot of his positive qualities as a human and how he's really lived up to things, not missing a training session, things like that. An ambassador for New Orleans, an ambassador for his club. I mean, he really, took the high road on a lot of these things with conversations and saluting people like that and looking out for people who's coming up. So again, the Vikings really look like they knocked it out of the park right there. Also, Jim, we're probably figuring by the end of the weekend at the latest, we're going to have some of these coaching changes. What's going to happen, in Atlanta with the Chargers, with the Jags. We'll see what really shakes out. With the Texans, we'll see if they've got that handled. But Jim, I think what's also
I can't help but laugh. I can't help but laugh when you look at the Texans. What a disaster down there.
I just got to press pause on them, and maybe it all plays out well for them. I don't know. Right now, it's not looking good, man, and they're taking some rightful beats upside the head from folks around the league. But again, maybe it all. We'll see. We'll see what Deshaun hopefully has to say in the next couple of weeks.
You're a better man than. You're a better man.
I know.
Man than me.
Yeah. I know. I'm just waiting to see. Maybe we're going to get a surprise here. But what's also thing, we get. It's going to be interesting that when that first domino falls, as we were just kind of talking, the rest are going to fall because this is where these teams have to build staffs right away. And a lot of these coordinators and position coaches, these coaches promised they could get their owners when they were interviewing. They're going to be moving around real quick. So that's going to be another interesting element to this. Does Raheem Morris land with a team as a DC or an assistant head coach or Pep Hamilton or Anthony Lynn or a guy like that? Do they land anywhere? And then we'll see who the next young hot commodity is who comes from a position coach to a coordinator as well. We'll see if these owners, if they don't do so well with the HC when it comes to diversity hires and things like that, if they allow their coaches to be as bold with some of their coordinator hires.
Yeah, it's looking like it's not going to be another positive year as it relates to diverse hires at the head coach position. And right now, at best, I can see potentially 2, but I have a feeling we may be stuck at 1 again for what would be the 4th straight year, I believe. So it's tough. It's tough out there.
We wouldn't be surprised. No, we're just not. We're not going to be surprised anymore, Jim. We're not going to be surprised anymore.
No.
We've seen.
No, I'm not surprised, but still disappointed. And it's like, how long can we talk about this? How much can we talk about this before something changes? And I don't have what the answer is anymore. The one thing I know is any more changes to the Rooney Rule is not the answer because that hasn't done squat. This incentivization, I can barely get that out. I don't believe that that's the answer. So I don't know what it is. And I think, Steve, what we need to do and what we are going to have to try very hard to do is see if we can get some of these owners on the show to start talking about what went into their thought process when it came to hiring a coach and why we continue to have this issue that we're not having diverse hires.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of faith we're going to get a whole lot of honest answers on that one. But we're going to try. We're not going to stop.
I don't even need honest. I want them to look us in the virtual eye and tell us what exactly went on and why did you make the moves that you make and why do we continue? Why is this an issue?
Man, Jim, we'll see. You know what?
There you go again. Optimistic. There you go.
I'm just tired of it right now because I'm not optimistic at all. I'm incredibly pessimistic. So I'm just kind of like, you know what? Let's just wait till it plays out. Let's hope we got some great playoff games, and we'll come back Monday, bring in some freaking Yu-Gi-Oh style fastballs with some high heat, and we'll just see what happens, man. Because here's the thing, and we're telling you this. It's not Jim and I necessarily. We're in our feelings about this, but it's these coaches who are getting snubbed who get in touch with us. And, we have to hear them, and our heart breaks knowing what they're going through and knowing how hard they're prepared and everything else. And so we're, a lot of times we are the messengers and the voices for them because a lot of times they're too scared to say anything. And I think it's time some of them need to go ahead and crank up the volume on what's going on with them as well, and not just necessarily bring it on with us. You know what, Jim? Instead of talking to the coaches, or the owners. Let's bring on the faces of the folks who didn't get opportunities, and let's let people see and hear them and what they have to say.
Yeah, but going back to your point, Steve, you know, they're afraid to come out and speak honestly on it for fear that they'll be blackballed and that
it's
it will
not.
hurt their
How's
So,
that working out right now? It's not working
yeah,
out right now. So you know what? They may just have to say, what do we got to lose? Let me just
I
come on. If you
remember.
don't like it, then
I'll tell you a quick story about this. So I was having this discussion a couple of combines ago, 3 combines ago. I don't remember what it was, but I remember I was walking up in the city center in Indianapolis to get something to eat, and on the 3rd floor up there, there were like 6 to 8 black coaches all huddled, you know, around one of those massage chairs or whatnot. And so they call me over and we start talking, and they're like, "What are you going to do about this?" And I said, "Do about what?" And they said, "The fact that we can't get hired as head coaches." And so we all started having this discussion. I said, "Look, there's only so much I can do." I said, "At some point, you all are going to have to speak up." And they said, "But if we do, then we're not going to get opportunities." And I'll never forget this. The late Daryl Drake, bless his soul, said, "Look, you know what? I'll speak up on it." He said, "I'm near the finish line." He said, "Somebody needs to say something. This isn't right." And I said to Daryl Drake, I said, "You know what? Sit tight for a month or so. Let's see how you feel then. I don't want to do this when your emotions are high. Let's talk then and see." Called him a month or so later, and he said, "No, I'm ready to speak on it. Somebody has to speak up on behalf of these young coaches out there so that they get opportunities." And he did. So I'm wondering who's going to be the next one to do that, to step out and say, "You know what? I've had my opportunities. I realize that it's passed me by to some degree. I'm going to be the guy to try and push that envelope for these young guys." And I'm hoping that, as you've suggested, that some of them do step out and say what needs to be said, because people are probably tired of hearing it from you and I. But
too
we're going
bad.
to we're
Too
going to keep
bad.
saying it, you know?
Too bad. Well, Jim, you know what? Let's catch our breath. Let's cherish what we got in Justin Jefferson. And let's come back next week and see where things are, because I know we'll be refreshed. We'll have our vitamins in our system, and we'll be ready to rock and roll and call a spade if that's what we have to do.
I'm ready.
All right, well, bring us
So
home.
look, to all of our listeners out there, we thank you. We appreciate you. Please subscribe. Please leave comments. Let us know what it is you want us to discuss, who you'd like to hear from, the topics. That way we can give you more of what you're funking for.
That's right. And also, next week, I know you may get sick of me, Jim, and Thomas, who's real quiet, talking about Howard. Too bad, because we're coming at you with an HU legend who also just retired officially from the NFL. Antoine Bethea will be joining us this time next week. He'll be in our second show next week. So we'll have him on as well. But until then, for Jim Trotter, for Thomas Warren, our producer on the ones and twos, I'm Steve White. We're the Howard Mob, and we are out. Peace. Be gone.